Hello.
I was about to say who talked first.
Hello
the
from
Halloween?
1980s.
Yeah.
Did you do a Halloween one? Was that your Halloween hello?
Exactly.
Oh shit! I can hear. Shit.
Oh,
I
there's
can.
a
I can.
delay.
Yeah,
I have
there's a
feedback.
delay.
What's going on? Oh, let me fix this.
Feedback after like 20 seconds or something. This is crazy.
It was your reverb.
Oh, it's a
intro.
really extended
Wow.
delay.
Joachim's having a breakdown. We can.
It's fixed. I know what
Oh.
it was. Anyway,
All
good to
right.
see you all.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, people.
Yes.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Fingers.
So we have Jensen Interceptor, but I think you're okay when we call you Mikey, right? Oops.
Mikey.
Now he's frozen. That's a great start.
Oh, we just lost everyone. This is going great.
Oh, you're back.
This
You're
is
back.
going
You're
so
back.
good.
Yeah.
And Nene is here. Hello, Nene. How are you doing?
Hi guys. I'm fine. Thank you for having me twice.
Welcome back. Yeah, actually,
It's your
you were here
fault.
before. Yeah. Good. And Tony is here with a famous background in his. Where is it actually, Tony?
Oh, it's in
Where
the
is?
kitchen. It's the kitchen wallpaper.
Oh, it's the kitchen.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. And Rachel,
Nice.
I think she's the only one.
Hello.
How are you, Rachel?
I'm really good. Yeah.
Good,
I'm in
good.
my home studio right now.
Cool.
Very
Excellent.
yellow.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you put some effort into that?
I have a lot of. I like lighting, so I have a lot of like dim lights. Yeah.
Cool. And you
So-
have a matching wardrobe to go with the color of the.
This is actually pink. But
Oh, is it?
Turned,
Okay.
turned yellow, so
Okay.
I'm all sunny, you know.
Nice one. Welcome to the Twiddlers Hangout.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
Yeah, absolutely. Last time we saw each other was in Berlin,
Yes,
when we did the Stoor live thing.
exactly. A
Yeah.
few weeks ago.
Yeah, yeah.
We did a live jam together. It was pretty fun, right?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the
You had
thing
fun,
is,
didn't you?
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. It was one of the. It was a sort of like a tryout. We did here at Stoor in the studio. We do a lot of live sessions, you know, live collaboration, live lamp jams and stuff like that. And this was the idea was to at some point take the whole thing to the stage and see how that would work out. So this was one of the first ones ever. So it was a
Yeah.
proof
you
of
never
concept.
Never know what's gonna happen.
Where did you do
Yeah.
that?
At Else, the open air
okay.
club. Yeah.
Oh, did you do two at Elsa?
No, we did one. Yeah, just one on the Thursday.
Yeah, with Lady Starlight.
Ah, yeah,
That
yeah.
has the-
Oh, I
Yeah.
misunderstood you.
Connection.
I thought you did two shows.
I don't know. I wonder if their screens
Hello.
are freaking out.
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Okay, we're back.
is it our internet or did it just?
Did it just freak out for you guys?
No.
No,
Okay,
everyone's
it's
fine.
fine.
it's
I
us.
feel like you guys are on like a 5-second forward or 5 seconds in the future or in the past.
You're in
Yeah.
the 1970s.
Yeah. We're still working
Yeah.
on 2G back here.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
There's
it's
a
low
little bit of
tech.
delay.
It's low tech, but I guess, you know, it's all about having fun. You know, I mean, we're not gonna trip over
That's true.
any aesthetics here. Actually, I think it looks quite good. You know, with I see the sort of hue in the screen.
It's
I know
like
what.
you're
Yeah,
in
we got
some
little
sort of
purple-
bubble.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Yeah. Purple rainbow in the middle there.
Okay.
Lots
I
of
see some
balloons
people
coming in.
dropping in, saying hi from. Hey, Funk the Void is here.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Hey,
Howdy.
Lars is here. I saw Robin popping in, and Jendrik, who is a member of one of our Discord server, Formal Music, is one of our regulars. So hello everybody, good to see you. Yeah, so let's see how this goes with all the technical glitches and hurdles. But
Make it
we
fun.
should-
Make it
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excuse the. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just on your side though, Rachel.
Yeah.
So you think I can only hear this, or they can hear this too? Because I'm hearing a little. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to
Sorry.
check when we see the recording.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, go for it. You want to say something?
Yeah. So where is everybody?
yeah.
Right now? I'm wondering.
Uh,
what-
I'm in a village in Worcestershire in England.
Okay. Is that what happens in the village?
I think we're.
There's like cows and sheep and trees and fields. It's pretty good. I like it.
Eels?
Did
you say eels?
Fields.
Oh, fields.
Trees.
I thought you
Fields.
said.
Fields and
I
cows.
thought
and
you
sheep.
said eels. I thought, okay.
No, I don't know. There might be eels in the river, but I haven't looked.
That's nice.
And
Where's everyone else?
yeah,
I'm in Berlin. At my
Also
house.
Berlin.
Also Berlin. Yep. At
obviously.
Nene's house. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Rotterdam. So yeah, that's where we are. And
Nice.
I see Mikey and Nene sitting together. You had a studio day today, right? That's what you told me.
Yeah.
So
did.
Yeah.
what did you cook up anything interesting? How did it go?
What did you do?
We were talking politics all day.
Yeah.
We recorded 2 hour mix, and that was the most creative moment
That's
of
all
our
we
day.
really got up to.
The rest,
Yeah. We had some dinner. That was nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was lovely.
oh,
Yeah, we haven't seen each other for like a few weeks now, like
Yeah.
a while, and so we just spent most of the day just catching up and just chatting.
yeah.
And Nene's going to be a guest on my next Rinse show, so we thought we'd record a mix. And yeah, we never made it to the production, but we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Slowly,
So-
slowly.
There's no rush.
I think
Okay,
it's
well.
important to, if you're working with someone, to connect before and
Yeah,
just let it
exactly.
flow and enjoy, eat, and then chill, and then
Yeah, but sometimes
Fool
the
around a
connecting
bit
never
and-
ends. Like we know each other shown quite a while. We want to do this quite a while already,
Yeah.
and always like when we meet, we're like blah 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 blah, talking,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
we'll get
looking forward to what you guys make. 'Cause I
Yeah.
think you two are
Thank
like
you. Thank you.
like the really fun producers and DJs.
Aw,
Like I have a lot of
thank
fun
you.
every
Thank you.
time.
That's
I
really
I
got
hope
sweet
it
of you.
early
went well.
for Jensen's set. It was. I mean, when Gressmüller was still open.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
old Chris Miller.
Yeah, and you were playing at like, I don't know, 4 or 5 in the morning, and I got up with a friend
about
and we
right.
went straight there, and it was just like the funnest thing. It was
Oh,
just
sick.
It's just so fun and so silly sometimes, you know. It's just really great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
silly in a good way. It's like
Thank
silly,
you.
like
No,
you play like hip hop, and then you do techno, and then you just and something
Yeah.
like just completely, just stuff you wouldn't expect, and I don't know, like it's just pure madness and pure fun. I really enjoy. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
this
That's
a
really
lot.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much my vibe. I'll play some Britney Spears in the middle of some gabber and
Exactly.
hardcore, and
It's like
it-
Beyonce,
it-
and then
yeah, exactly. Like I just love to have fun and not take it too seriously. I've never played live though, and this is the thing. I don't know how I'm going to incorporate that playing live, if and when that day comes. So I think
you're
when I
working
do
on
play
it?
live, it's like it's on the shelf at the moment. But it's a goal. It's definitely something I want to work towards, and I want to do eventually, is play live. So I think when I cross that bridge, I think the Jensen sets will become, I don't know, it'll be a bit different, I guess, to my DJ sets. 'Cause my DJ sets, just a bit more fun. So, but that in itself that'll be a new challenge, a new chapter, and there'll be fun within that as well, excitement within that new process. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, it's funny. I played in Rotterdam at this club. It's their branding, it's always just yellow and with black letters.
Perron.
Yeah. And I played this. It was the weekend of Deck Mantle on the Sunday night, and I was like, oh, no one is going to be here. It's going to be dead. It's going to be empty. And I walked in, and it was just Ramstein, just people everywhere. And and I was playing. I was up at like 160 BPM, like hardcore and Gabba, and then I just played Britney Spears, and then and afterwards everyone went crazy, and then the promoter came and she's like, "You're the first person that's ever played Britney Spears in this club."
But which one? Which Britney Spears? Like
Toxic. Yeah, it was Toxic.
Yeah.
So, So I love Britney, love little Britney, and it was fun. It was fun. But I'm glad you're at that set, the Grease Meal one. If it's the one I'm thinking it was, that was a really good one. And I'm so sad that it's gone.
It was like kind of I think it was still going for a little bit, but I think it was maybe I don't think you played after that. It was like maybe your last show. I think I'm not really sure, but I'm thinking. But yeah, that was super fun. Actually, Nene and I we played in Ukraine on the weekend that just passed. In Kiev.
Wow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wow, I want to go to Kiev so bad.
It's really really special, actually. It was a new venue, but I think it was pretty outstanding, I would say. And Nene, I have to say, you played such a gorgeous piano piece. I was kind of blown away by it. It was super nice.
Thank you.
And then
Thank you.
I think you left, so you were not in the club for the next day, right? You had
No. Yes.
Actually,
I mean, nowadays
I saw a clip of that piano thing on your Instagram.
Yeah.
That's cool.
also
What was it?
posted
Was it like a sort of a concert vibe for that performance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
cool.
it is more like a concert hall that they have in this club. They have different stages, and this concert hall they just opened, and it's open for also sound installations. And this is also the only place where you can make like pictures inside in that club. And they made really pretty concert hall. It just looks gorgeous, and the whole sound is great. And they had these sitting places, and it felt really safe also because it's so spacious and everybody with the masks, and it feels right. But then of course for fun, staying one more day for party and stuff, I'm still feeling a little bit bad about if I do it in these times. So I was just like, okay, I have to go and stay like healthy and sober and just do my own thing. So I came back right after, even though there was a party the day after where Rachel played also and Stingray played. But yeah, I was like, okay. Ciao.
They were all in masks as well. Everybody was wearing masks, and it was.
Yeah, they are really, really careful about this. But of course, it's for us working, so I allow myself to a certain extent, but I still want to be careful and
sure,
just be as correct as possible in this.
Everyone's commenting on your wallpaper.
Comments are great.
Famous wallpaper. You see they've seen your mushroom.
Mushroom, yeah.
No.
This way.
Yeah.
A little.
So that wallpaper, did you basically did you have it when you moved in, or is this something that you picked?
Tony.
Yeah, it wasn't here when I moved in. This was a choice.
It's pretty. It's really pretty.
Is it lickable wallpaper?
It's trippy.
Yeah, you chop it into like tiny little squares. It's already perforated.
Nice.
But it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice.
I really like wallpaper. I think I dream of having a house one day and having like amazing wallpaper, like velvet,
I don't think
pattern.
you can appreciate how kind of it looks very flat on the screen, but it's quite 3-dimensional.
I like
got some texture. Yeah, I think wallpaper's underrated.
Yeah, me too. It's like very vintage vibe, but I think like I think it can be quite cool.
It should be a quote in your bio, Mikey. Wallpaper is underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
So so apart from chatting today in the studio, you've worked before, you've collaborated before, right?
Us?
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
No, this is the first time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
We did back-to-back once.
We DJed together once.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did this United We Stream. It was the first time we had met, and that was how that came about was actually like really cute and kind of funny.
Yeah.
Because someone from United We Stream hit me up, and they're like, "Do you want to play back-to-back with someone in Berlin?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't really have any friends or don't really know anyone." and then at the same it was the same time I was watching Bestie's Whore set, the Whore radio here, and she played one of my tracks, and then I was like, "Oh my god, this is amazing!" And I kept watching, and your set was just like super sick, and like within that moment, I got another email saying, "Hey, would you like to play with Nene H?" And I was like, "This is weird." Okay, yes, creepily, I'm watching her right now on my screen whilst responding to your email, and she just played one of my tracks, and I was like, "Yeah, let's do this." So, and then we met, and you were just an absolute nightmare, and didn't want anything to do with you. So we've been planning this studio get together for ever since we met, and we finally met up, and we've just been talking all day and eating peanuts and chocolate, and didn't do any work. So it's a successful studio day.
Nice one. Yeah, I can see how it would work though, because both your music is really energetic.
Yeah.
I've tried to do like more down tempo ambient kind of stuff. When I did my first album, I released it with Impatience, and he turned around and said, "Oh, like, okay, we've got enough bangers, maybe something more ambient." And I was like, "Cool." And then I add a kick drum, then I distort the kick drum, then I speed it up 20 BPM, then I add hats, and then I add a snare, and then I'm like, and then there's another banger. Like I can't do it. I don't know. Maybe I need to move out to the countryside or something, or even during the isolation, like I've still been writing like I don't know, because I know a lot of artists use that as an outlet to help with the isolation, to try new projects or just get away from dance music for a minute, but not me. I don't know. Just like I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah. And your stuff's great.
He's being honest about it, so it's cool. I made lots of like last two weeks, I would say, like I made more, of course, through this project that I played piano. I was more into experimental stuff because I was working on Albert van Abbe's piece, and his music that I play piano to is very experimental and very like offbeat, weird textures and this and that. So I got into it a little bit, and now I'm also getting like a live set, more experimental live sets ready, because I am again a little bit more excited about it.
So
it's nice.
So you say you play piano too, the music. So is it?
Yes.
How does it work? Because do you know what's going to be played, and are you improvising to whatever's going on? The stuff that you're playing to. How does it work? Is it complete improvised or something?
It was improvised when we were in Willem II Studios in Netherlands. Also, we met there, and I basically played for hours piano. That means like it was all improvised stuff, and he recorded all of it, and he made a piece out of it. He made a whole album or 1 hour live set piece out of it, and then he sent me all the material that he made, and he picked certain piano parts, and then I relearned them again. I had to practice them again because I forgot what I had played. So I practiced those, and then I knew where to play, where to get in, where to get out, and that's what I did then.
Okay,
in
so
the concert.
yeah, okay. So originally the music came together as improvised music, but
Yes.
you kind of an album was curated from those sessions, and then you sort of redo them or make them.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, interesting.
Yes.
Oh, we have a question from somebody watching this on YouTube. I should do this housekeeping shout out though. But people watching this on Facebook can just watch, and they can comment whatever they want, but we can't see it. People watching this on YouTube or Twitch, they can actually send comments to us, and Sander in the background here is bringing in questions when we all think it's sort of connected to whatever we are saying. So this question from Freedom Club: are you sequencing synths as well as playing piano, Nene?
I didn't get it what he means by it, but
oh well, I think what he means is, are your instrument during that performance is just the piano, and or are you playing or sequencing things yourself to play along to?
Just piano. Just
the
piano.
piano. Okay.
Just piano.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that answered the question then. Hey, Sven.
Hey, Sven.
What's up? Jonathan. Hey. Yeah, we're all doing well.
I'm doing well. Very well would be an oversell.
Oh no!
Lost in
wallpaper. Don't look at the wallpaper.
You need to do like
I mean, you will just have to. You will have to talk about your wallpaper all 2 hours long. This is nightmare.
No, the wallpaper will go great with the mushroom.
Yeah, Rachel, just pass over the mushroom.
There's literally a cat sat next to me, but it's a bit. Oh, there we go. There's the cat.
I'm gonna give you. Oh, the other way. I'm gonna give you the mushroom.
Yeah.
Can you bring it into the frame more? Then we'll get more views.
Can we say hi?
No. Well,
I'll give you
stand on my computer and make everything
I'll give you the mushroom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You got it?
No, that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my helps me make music basically. It's like an icon or like a porthole. It helps me get weird, helps me get trippy. Because I use a lot of images or objects to help me kind of get into the mode. So the mushroom helps me get deeper. It makes me look at imagine. In a trippy
That's
sense.
crazy. I thought they take those. Like I
take them? No, I just look at them.
I didn't know you can look at them and get high.
I can look at it and I can just imagine.
Wait, I'm just gonna stare at it really hard. Can you just hold it for a bit?
Where did you find it?
Just at a shop. Maybe it was like a shop that had lots of things. And this was like in the garden part. So it's meant to look like a garden, I think.
Yeah, like garden furniture. Got it.
Yeah, like garden. It helps me just kind of get trippy. So.
Good to see Denox here.
Denox, what's up? So now I was trying to read the question, but now it's gone. Sander, it's good to see you all smiling despite being this time. Thank you for the show.
Very important.
Okay, well, that's why we do it. I mean, the whole thing is, normally, normally some of us would have run into each other at some time during the summer or the year, by accident or whatever. But obviously, we're all stuck in our own cities and studios for the most part. So this is our way to kind of hook up and talk about nerdy stuff.
I think it was last month. I had a chat on Zoom with Donnell, and that was really nice to catch up because we realized maybe we hadn't seen each other for like 20 years or something. It was really. I'd found these really old pictures that I put online, and like we just looked so young in them, and we just got in contact through that and just had a chat, and it was amazing because it had been at least 20 years, and we just kind of picked it up where we left it off almost. It was just really good to chat.
Cool. So how did you know each other before then?
I met him in Kalamazoo, where he used to live in Kalamazoo, which is in between Detroit and Chicago. And he was involved with Black Nation Records with Jay Denham, and they all lived in this loft, and I used to go and kind of stay with them, and we did some music and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah, a very, very long time ago when we were a lot younger.
Did you release the music, or it's like something that you can't find?
There was one. It was a pretty low key release. I think it was called Surgeon Meets Vice. That was like one of the pseudonyms that Jay Denham used, and I think one of the tracks had Denox doing kind of like improvised vocals on it. As we were kind of live mixing it, he was just kind of chatting away and stuff. But it came out on this label called Ideal Tracks, but it was pretty low key.
Cool.
So it was
all right.
Really nice to catch up with him.
Nice one. I wanted to talk to Rachel about her album because
Yes.
I got it in the promo, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And it sounded really intriguing. And the thing I really like about it, there's a lot of things you do, a lot of things with your voice, with vocals, and therefore, but it's all sort of recorded or processed in a weird way, making it sound very, very intimate. It's like you are talking to yourself in a way. You're like, it's very. Yeah, it's really intimate and really personal, I guess. So, what did you?
A lot of people. I mean, I got your feedback actually, because I didn't send it to you personally.
No,
so I got your feedback. But actually, a lot of people were like, "This is creepy in the best way," or like, "This is." I feel like I'm in Rachel's ear, like she's talking to me, or so it is a little bit creepy, but in a good way, but for some people, but people said intimate, personal, but it's interesting getting feedback, because to me, I mean, it was personal to me, but I didn't realize maybe when people listen to it, they can hear it becomes intimate to them, I guess. So I mean, they're all made in a different way. Two or three of the tracks is my vocals, like stuff I recorded. But honestly, I'm not doing it in the most technical, way. I don't have a mic set up in my studio or something like that. I'm just using like a handy recorder, going into the bathroom, sitting in the tub, and
that's what it sounded like.
No, not with water. Just because actually, I really like I like early electronics. So, in early electronics, they also didn't have proper studio setups. Like in rock and roll, they recorded stuff in the bathroom. So, I go there too, so I can create this sort of sound that I like, this aesthetic. I just recording stuff in the bathroom, and even bumping stuff. So there's bangs, and I'm like, but when you put these things after you put them into Ableton, and then you bounce them, and then I put them into my sampler, all of these bangs become kicks and sub and but I think the people, my neighbors, think I'm a little weird, because when I get into the bathroom, I'm humming into my sink and trying to create resonance, getting quite physical with the so I think they maybe hear me and think what is she doing, but I put in my sampler. I mean, you probably heard the spring reverb. This is my favorite thing. I have a physical tank. I have a few tanks. Running my voice through the tanks and certain filters that I have in the Modular, but I don't use any plugins. I record exactly how I want it, and perhaps maybe add some small reverb at the end, but there's no plugins or anything like that.
That's
so
interesting, because
it's super raw and just I just record it how I want it. I don't try to think, I'm going to record it now and later I'll add all this stuff onto it. I record it exactly I find the way to hear it as I want it in the moment. So it's really
cool.
actually
Yeah.
organic in that way. So
yeah, well, organic. I would say. I was thinking the positioning of the mic and your position in the room and everything is basically, that's where the sound design takes place, not afterwards and in the how do you monitor it then? Because
monitor
headphones. Yeah, I mean if
okay, no, none of that. It's sometimes I'm even putting it to the side, so it's like panned. I'm just using it. I'm using it as I'm not doing it in the perfect way, but this for me adds so much. Like I don't want I'm not looking for like a perfect clean sound, like the scruffles and the weirdness, and if it's panned to one side the minute and then it jumps to the other side, all of this just
adds character.
It adds a lot of character to it. So
but what I was wondering about is, do you actually hear if it's the take you want while you are recording it, or are you making the selections afterwards?
No, I do a few takes. So I mean I'm like, in terms of like, I use like a lot of the humming stuff for like low end. I'm in this. I know it is creepy actually, but like humming into the sync, because it creates this. You have this bowl. And it creates this feedback, and you have this, the room resonance. So I'll do all sorts of different pitches. So I'm like, and then like, like humming and, on different angles of the tub and stuff. And it, it's super useful for my music. It's just, I'm just, I guess, trying to make it happen in the most, I'm just very experimental. There's no one told me to do it this way. It just becomes, I just me in the the recorder in a small room. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, just try it all. And it's nice, because also when I put it into Ableton, the raw recording, I'll cut things out. So there might be like a huge hit that becomes a distorted. I can't use that. So I'll do some chopping and bounce that, put that into the sampler, and then just run it through my effects and maybe like do some arrangement. But honestly, all of the recordings happen really quickly. They're not taking days. Some of them take. It happens. Like I made something with my voice the other day, and it happened in a few minutes. So I'm not spending. No, I'm spending time, but it's like I figured out my setup. I know exactly how to get the things I want. I think at this point.
It shows because it doesn't sound too overworked or too designed. It's pretty much capturing certain moments. Yeah, but I mean, it's cool. I mean, did anybody else here work with acoustics and miking things? I've done some things here in the hallway with just like a concrete bunker, right, where we are, and I've done things with like putting speakers in the airlocks or in the staircases, and then miking the reverb and sending it back to itself, and then have it play out along the again and again in the same loop. You get the weirdest resonances and tones when you do stuff like that. Have you ever experimented with something like this, Nene or Mikey? Miking stuff?
I did some work with miking on the piano or cello, for instance, and try to make some type of resonances, but not like creating resonance through the microphoning, but like basically trying to make some resonance more interesting, maybe, or like pop them up and stuff like that. Because if you make a wrong microphoning in those instruments and play on pedal, for instance, the resonance are actually wrong, like what you would say, like feedback and stuff like that, But recording that and making something with that is also sometimes interesting. But other than that, actually, a little bit of field recording I made with microphones, and a little bit of singing I also did. But that's it, actually. That's it. Nothing too special, actually.
Yeah.
I actually was on a walk today, just like down the canal, going to Kreuzberg, and I stopped on the bridge because there was like one guy playing the violin and he was singing on top. So he was like going hello, hello, like while playing the violin, and then going la, and then on the other side was a guy playing the guitar, and I kind of stopped on the bridge and I was like, hang on a minute, something happening here. So I've got one guy playing instruments and singing like opera on one side, and one guy with the guitar. So just stand in the middle. I didn't have my recorder, but the phone can also work. So I did a 5+ minute recording. It's like the weirdest combination, you know. But I will put this into my. I will clean it up in Ableton and then put it into my sampler and see what I can do with it.
Cool.
Yeah, trying to
Nice.
Found
weird sounds.
Yeah.
And there was like bikes going past, and the leaves like this, and then the bike wheels. So there's this really complex stuff going on. Yeah, I mean, it could amount to nothing, but then it could just be, you know. I also
you could find.
Yeah, my albums like I'm making a lot of loops. These loops that just like something infinite, just like going on and on and on. Just like one part that works that can be infinite can also be nice as well.
Yeah, I've used my phone. I've used my phone a lot. And one time I was like, this is back in Australia, and I was.
Let's go back to this question in
there's some question.
Let's go back to this because it was directed to Jensen. But tell us about your phone.
Okay. I've used my phone a bunch of times for recording stuff. And one time back when I was living in Australia at my mum's place and I was doing the laundry, when I closed the lid, it was like a really old top loader from like the 80s, and so when it shuts down, it makes this huge bang sound. And it's like a metal washer, so kind of I heard it straight away, and it just sounded like every blow one or perk kind of like kick drum or snare kind of thing from like 7 years ago, like that real scrapyard style techno. And so I recorded that, and I use it for hats and stuff like that. And there's a bunch of tracks I did years ago where I was using the phone to record stuff like that on walls for random. And then I also like I've got a track actually that's called, it's probably one of my most well-known tracks, I guess, or tracks that gets played a lot. It's called Collect Those Ends, and at the beginning it's actually a recording of maybe having like a domestic situation happening, which is kind of messed up, but I was actually in the middle of writing this track, and they just kept interrupting my session, and then like
I was afraid that was going to happen. They went from the 70s to the 60s to the 50s, and now they're in Stone Age, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, I was recordings. When you were talking about miking, and I heard a beep. Maybe they're back, but anyway, Sander will take care of it in the background. But it's funny how when you walk around with a microphone or a field recorder, how it makes you observe your environment in a completely different way.
Yeah, you're like listening out. I'm trying to like find like the perfect moment to get like autumn leaves. This like where the wind just takes it. I'm always searching for sounds, and but I need a windbreaker. This like fluffy thing that you put on top. Exactly. Like I need that. Give it to me. I need to get one. I ordered one and it never arrived, so I need to get one. But yeah, this really helps with the music, I think. Oh, we're back. Nope.
They still look like a painting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
No. All right.
Yeah. Well,
I've used a sock as a windbreak. I don't think it works as well as a proper one, but it's better than nothing.
I think I did try that once. A sock.
Yeah.
It is better than nothing, but it still doesn't. For some reason, it can I mean, if it's windy, it still does interfere.
It doesn't. It only works for a light breeze, not a gale. But I don't know. I think, I just always look at the windsock things and just go, how much?
Yeah, they're expensive.
They're pretty
right?
expensive, aren't they?
For a fluffy thing, it's so they are. They're like.
But I mean, I probably should get one because they are pretty useful.
We should start
recording outside without them, isn't it?
We should start a windbreaker business.
Yeah, like a crowdfunding for
like cool windbreakers.
Yeah. Different colors,
orange ones.
Things. Yeah. It's gonna be a hit. It's gonna be a hit.
That's the thing. They're actually not. They don't come in they're not very interesting. Like they're always just grey. Like what if you want to really like a pink fluffy thing with a face on it? Oh.
Go for it.
Just putting it out there.
It's for incognito recording. But I don't know. It doesn't look incognito though, really.
So have you fooled around with recordings, Tony, with field recordings and stuff like that, or is it not your
Well, I think the first recording that I ever did was like with microphones and tape recorders. It was just because that's the only gear I had, and it was like kind of accidentally making music concrete kind of stuff.
What did you have at the start? What did you say? A tape recorder and recorder?
Just like I had just like a little portable tape recorder, and I kind of managed to deactivate the erase head so that let me do sound on sound, and then I eventually got like a 1/4-inch tape machine, and I think I'd read stuff about what the Beatles did in the studio with tape loops, and I was like trying to approximate that, and again doing, you could loop the tape away from the erase head, so you can do sound on sound and tape loops and things like that. But that was all with microphones and just using my voice, things that were in my mum's kitchen, and like food mixers and just it's like what can I I had no instruments or anything, so you just kind of make sounds with what.
I think you don't really need instruments. I mean, I always thought you did need more things, but then when you realize you start making music, as I was saying before, like you can make a recording in the bathroom and a knock on the bathtub. Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back.
Oh, you relocated.
Yeah, just moved a little closer to the box.
From 1980s to 1990s.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
More up to date now. But I think especially with when you do like loops and sound on sound, building up, very quickly you can't really recognize what the sound source is, because it just sounds so like weird and alien.
Yeah, exactly. And like like a simple hit can become like a beat, or you can make sounds with anything in your kitchen, I would say.
So Tony, were you doing this because you knew the Beatles worked like that, or is that something you found out afterwards? Because I started with tape as well, but I was not aware of music concrete or the Beatles or any production tricks or anything.
Yeah,
it was just because that was just a thing that was lying around.
With the tape recorder in the beginning, but then I heard about that. But I think the funny thing was I found this. I found a book in my school library called "Making Music with Tape Recorders: Music Concrete for Beginners." But so I read a book about this, but I never ever heard any of the music. So it's like, it's really fun because you hear about something and you kind of you imagine what it is in your head, but you've never had the reference of what
it sounded like.
Sounded like, and it's only like kind of relatively recently that I've kind of heard what that is.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. I have that with music I remember from a distant past, that kind of started to lead its own life in your imagination, like in your memory. You remember something to hit you really hard, like some musical experience, and then if you never hear it back after that, it sort of starts to lead its own life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
I've used in your memory.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like a copy of a copy of a copy, and it sort of changes over time. And then sometimes I use these ideas or these sort of vague memories as as an inspiration or a starting point or something to to go by when I'm making music. And incidentally, when I do hear one of those tracks or pieces of music back, how they were totally unlike they were still existing in my memory, so you get like inspired by something, and then it sort of morphs over time, and you think you're still kind of working towards that, but it's, you know what I mean? It's like so many incarnations from what you've heard back then, and it still can be something to get started or something to be inspired by. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, I think I have that maybe a similar thing where I remember hearing a song when I was really young and thinking, wow, that's like the hardest drum beat I ever heard.
Yeah.
And then you kind of listen to it like 30 years later, and it's like, whoa, your parameters have been really reset.
Yeah, exactly.
In the meantime.
Yeah. So I think Rachel is
sorry, I'm
disassembling.
Just charging in my iPad.
She started recording now.
Yeah.
She's recording all of us.
She's doing the...
Okay, let's go to the Zugzwang X question then. It's off topic, but he would love to know how Tony goes about recording his modular for his tracks. Do you record them in one take, or do you do lots of chopping and editing? Do you multi-track it, or do you
I tried that, but I don't know. I stopped doing that because I never really did anything with a multi-track. So I basically just record a stereo. I just make a stereo recording, and the way that I work with stuff, it changes over time. But more recently, I'll make a stereo recording, probably without drums, more like the riffy stuff, maybe like sound rhythmic sound stuff or whatever, but not really the drums. And then I'll put that in the computer and kind of largely keep that as it is. I won't really chop it up too much, maybe just to make a sensible intro or something like that, but largely leave it as it is and then just like fit stuff over it. And that's kind of basically what's worked recently, just to get a combination of like a live kind of feel, a bit of a human feel in the music, and so it's not quite so strictly structured, the way that is very easy to end up doing, when you're working on a timeline. And so I kind of let the live jam kind of the arrangement of that kind of guide me, and then I fit other stuff over it, like other keyboard parts or drums and stuff like that. So I think I answer the question. I kind of get
think
lost.
So yeah I think you did. Yeah.
I get lost in the answer.
Yeah, it's cool when you record.
I always wonder also. Sorry,
no, it's okay.
I didn't want to interrupt, but what do you use as MIDI clock? I wondered.
Sometimes it's this device called MIDI clock, I think. Do you know that one, Joachim?
No.
It's like a really
stable
stable
black box.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, and it's got a dial, and you set the tempo, and it's got like two DIN or MIDI outputs. So either that or like maybe if a BeatStep Pro is like a master clock, and I just record it into the computer, and then maybe usually it's pretty tight, but do a bit of beat gridding if it needs it. But I don't know. It's kind of nice if it's not like too dead precise.
Yeah, coming back to this recording method, I've done both, you know, like multi-tracking everything and have like a big chunk of your sounds without the drums as a one take, and then just basically take it or leave it. The cool thing about that one is if you basically do a stereo recording of whatever you were jamming. Sometimes you do need to fix something about it, but then that becomes like the part of the sound design, you know, like so you basically all you have to work with is your stereo recording, and if something's wrong or doesn't quite fit with the stuff you build around it, you kind of you're kind of like overcompensating certain things or fixing things because that's the only thing you have available, and that can sometimes become the whole thing can become more interesting because you're really trying to do things which you are not able to do because you only have 2 tracks, you know, you only have the stereo track. So sometimes it's you know, it kind of shapes the music in a way that you would normally not do when you would have all the multi tracks available.
Yeah, I prefer that kind of live rawness, and you know, I wouldn't do like a whole load of takes or anything. It's just like usually one take, maybe 2, but that's it's just I don't know,
snapshots.
Yeah, it just it's like I don't know. I like that thing about music when it captures a moment in time, and if you kind of fiddle about with it too much, it kind of dilutes that. Maybe I don't know, but maybe it's me being impatient, as I always say in these chats. It's just the way I work is because I'm impatient. I think I don't know.
No, but it's totally valid. It's totally valid, you know, because you can keep postponing your decisions when you have all the options all the time, but it doesn't necessarily always get better by just keeping pushing decision forward, you know. Sometimes it's just
I just end up making if it's like that, I don't make any music, you know. I need to just
plus the changes you make are just small incremental steps, you know, instead of broad strokes. Then if you're impatient like you are and I am, it's better to stick to the broad strokes rather than
are we all impatient, do you think?
Yeah. I don't know.
I know a couple of people who can like do longer sessions on one thing, like very detailed, and like it's probably about like knowing who you are really, and then knowing what works best for you, right? And for some people, they can just sit on one track for like months. And
oh my god,
I don't want to do this.
I know people
I would jump out the window.
Yeah, me too.
I try and like finish the idea in one session, and then I'll put it on like SoundCloud in a private link, and then listen to it that evening, and then I'll figure out exactly what it needs, and then go in maybe, you know, that week, like not too far away from it, and then add those things, and then just sit on it for another 6 months and not listen to it. And then just if I keep thinking, that's how kind of my album started. I made loads of recordings over like 3 years, and then the stuff I kept thinking about was like I was missing it, or I kept wanting to hear it. Those are the tracks that came on the album. Like,
nice.
Yeah, if you don't think about it again, it's like it wasn't special, or it didn't like. Yeah, you don't do it again. If something's like keep thinking about it, you're like, oh, I need to hear that again. Need to hear that again.
Yeah, so you basically keep it in your imagination rather than just playing it over and over. Yeah, that's cool.
Like if you keep, and then in the final moment where I knew that it was something that maybe could add like a slight one small thing, then that I'm not like working weeks on something. I feel like at that point, just start a new idea. Because you can start, you know, there's so many ideas to make, you know, to sit on one thing. If you only have one idea, then I don't know.
You just end up going around in circles.
So many possibilities, you know.
Totally.
Your sound is a bit low though, Rachel, by the way.
It is?
Did you did you change your
sorry, I'm on my iPad. I don't have my laptop at the moment. So actually, On the new iPad, the charger is the same as the headphones.
Oh shit!
So, I'm sorry.
Minimalism.
It's better when you're closer to the screen.
Sennheisers. I could maybe put the Sennheiser in, but then the mic, it's not on the mic, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you hear it
Okay.
now? It's good.
Yeah, when you
When you lean
closer
into
to
it,
Yeah,
it's better.
that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Tony, I wanted to ask you also about the same theme. Like when you're doing those recordings, the stereo recordings out of the modular, are you like making like half an hour kind of recording, or do you make like a small one, or how do you work?
What I'm doing. I'm trying to do a live take, which is the length of the track that I'm gonna make. So I do very little editing, because what I found, when you record like live jams, there's some great moments in it, but I've never really been able to kind of extract those, because it's all about what leads up to that makes it good. And then when you take it out, it's like, I don't know, it loses the context. So when I do the live jam, it's like I'm kind of keeping an eye on the duration. So it's like, I kind of write a little story, for like 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and that's it. And then essentially that's the basis of the track, and I just stick some drums on it.
You make it sound very easy, Tony.
Build it up and down. Yeah, it's just crazy. Like it's also
but it's
me,
like, I don't know,
taking 5 minutes record.
To me,
like that.
it's a much quicker way for me to record. I don't know, get that kind of vibe of the track. And it's fun. And again, back to the kind of Impatience thing. It's like, it doesn't like work every time, but it's just, let me think. I'd say the last like 2-3 years, that's kind of how I've made all the kind of techno stuff. Has been doing a kind of a kind of live jam, but without all the drums in it. So, or I don't know, other parts.
Yeah, I used to work like that once upon a time, when I was using a lot of hardware, and at first I would figure out like the crescendo, like at the final moment, like where I want to get to, and then I'd work backwards. So I'd find like my favorite kind of loop, and I'm like, okay, this is what I want, and then kind of deconstruct it, hit record, and build back up to it again when I was using like a SH101 or like a Juno 60 or something like that, and then record for like about five or so minutes over long of the track, and then that's it. And just always just kind of record it as in mind, be thinking how I want the track to play out. So I want to slowly open up the filter, and then build the tension, and then go into a breakdown, bring it back down, and then go up again, and then that's it.
Would you multi-track this then in your case?
No.
Also, okay. Okay.
My setup though was like was super like low key. I just had like one preamp that I could just use one synth at a time actually with my original setup. So I just plug one synth in, do it, and then let it sequenced up, and then I'm like, okay, now I want some strings and some chords or something, so I like plug in the next synth.
That's also a cool thing though. Wow.
Yeah,
when you do once at a time, it's it can be quite nice thing.
So I found it like really it was my process, I guess. It was fun for me, enjoyable for me, because there were times where I'd walk in other friends' studios that were really elaborate and really impressive, and they would have this multi-tracking thing, could have like 8 synths going at once, and I would just be like, just like freaking out, not knowing what to do. And I feel like in that instance I would actually get completely lost, and I don't know how proactive I guess I would be, or how much stuff I would get finished. And actually that's kind of a bit of a little bit of the story behind like my productivity, and like why in the last like 3 years I've kind of just been releasing like relentlessly, is because I've kind of done the opposite to like the more I've done the opposite to a lot of producers when it comes to the production. I guess timeline is where like a lot of producers, they'll get one synth, they get another synth, and they get bitten by that bug, and they just build and build their studio up, and they get deeper and deeper. When I started, I was working with some friends, and they just kind of loaned me a bunch of gear, and I bought a couple of synths, and so I started straight away with a whole bunch of gear and was working with hardware first. And then after moving studios a few times, I started I sold some stuff. Kind of regret some of the stuff I sold, but I've kind of downsized quite a lot, and now I find I can be super creative and productive with limitations. You know, sometimes if I'm in a room surrounded by every synth under the sun, I'll just be like staring at blank space and just completely. You know, what do I do now? It's kind of like when I'm at Whole Foods in the supermarket.
Limitations are really.
It's a very powerful thing. So now, like, as it stands, actually, like, this is funny. I did an interview not so long ago, and they're like, "Oh, your latest record, it sounds like super hardware. I can tell you use a lot of gear and a lot of synth." At the moment, right now, I have no gear. Like, my studio is literally just speakers, and I'm using samples and VSTs right now. I obviously I've got a folder with heaps of recordings that I've built up over the years of jams and when I did have all my hardware. And I resample a lot of like real synths that I've used and recorded over the years. And I just remanipulate them in Ableton. I've now found. Getting to the point. Now without all the gear around me, I'm actually finishing tracks like super quickly, you know, and I'm not getting caught up in that jamming element, or because I can get completely lost with that. But everyone's process is different, I guess. So it's like, we're all distracted by different things. So for me, I was just
well, but what is very similar, exactly. But what is very similar is that we basically all have tried different ways and found that restricting yourself to a certain collection or a certain limitation or limited amount of gear is always more productive than just buying the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I've worked out the same thing here. There's shitloads of gear around, but I always have a setup which consists of just a few pieces, and that's what I'll use for the day or the week. It's just a setup that I basically design it with a certain purpose. So I want to get something out of it. I know in my head what direction I want to take it, and then I just hook them all together and use it for a while. And when I feel I kind of exhausted the combination, I'll take one piece out, put in the next one, or I'll find a new setup altogether. So that's my way of limiting myself. And it's funny how even if the amount of gear you use is so limited, how big the range can be if you hook some small things up together, and the combination makes it possible to have a much wider range than just the individual instruments. You can take it in so many different directions.
I can only imagine.
It's crazy.
It's almost like having little, like you're talking about how taking a few pieces of gear. It's almost like making a little live setup. That's
exactly
how it is for me. I just hook like 3 things together or something like that, and not like go crazy. I never like you. I don't have everything kind of set up all the time, because it just, I don't know. It's not, doesn't work for me really.
It's also, you come into the studio and every day you sit behind the same configuration of stuff, and it just becomes boring after a time. After a while, you just if this keyboard is always over there and your computer is always over here, and it's always the same. It's like going to work. And I don't want to. I've been trying for 30 years not to have a job, so this is a way to to keep it interesting, to keep it playful, It's just every time I come in this room, there's something else going on. It has a different purpose, a different setup, and that keeps it interesting.
Do you come every day to the studio?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
There was a question just popped up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was a question. Okay, let's go into the question.
Turn back.
Seption. Any tips for starting with modular? Oh, there we go. That's a rabbit hole.
Start small.
Yeah, buy one piece at a time. And your second piece should not be or not maybe start with 3 maximum, I would say. And then don't get anything new at least 6 months after that.
Actually, what I like is for the starters, Erica Synth has this really easy, like where you can understand, okay, CV in, out, like super easy. These what are they called? Series where there's like one module that is like super thin for I think. I guess it's like just like it covers 2. What is it called?
Oh, the Pico ones.
Thank you. Exactly, the Pico ones. Thank you, guys. Jesus, that was so hard to explain. Jesus. But yeah.
Thank you, YouTube.
Guys, thank you. But anyways, they have the effect modules. They have a mixer. They have small modules which also gives some drum like functions, like two voice drum machines, which is actually super cheap also and super easy to use. I think it's a really good start. You're saying just to get your head around the system, get your head around what CV does. That may be a good idea, a good starting point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very like.
Sorry, you were talking. I thought you'd finish.
Go on. Please. Yeah, so you're still a bit quiet, so that's why we didn't hear you. Sorry.
I bought a few things. It was maybe too many things at once, but I got an oscillator and a filter and. Actually 2 complex oscillators at once. But I think if you're really beginning with modular, you have to learn, because some people, they don't know. You have to know your inputs and your outputs. Once you find the inputs and outputs of every module, because it can be super confusing. And the modules don't say, some of them don't say input. It could have a symbol or something. You need to read the manuals, find the inputs and outputs of every module. Then you can basically start simple patching, going in, out of one module into another, then out of that module then into another, and that's really how to start the most simple patching. And then from there, you can, once you know how to get in and out of everything, then the complex stuff can happen after that. So I would say that's how when this like light bulb hits like this, for me, it started to get deeper.
Well, basically, what you are really doing when you get into modular is designing your own instrument. So you should really think, what do you want from your instrument, and then make sure.
This as well. Yeah.
I've yet to put my foot in the modular pool yet. I'm so nervous about this, because every time I work with a friend who has one, I just like leave going, can I swear? No, I won't swear, but I sometimes swear when I'm talking about music because I get excited. Like I'm always like, damn, like I need to get one so bad. Like they just sound like so unique. Yes, exactly your own. You can have your own sound. It's very easy to have your own sound, and
not that easy, but I mean, I have the modules. I have the one smaller, one bigger modular system, and I'm still working on it to get the sound that I want to have. Like I had this thing in my mind when I bought all those modules, but I think like some things that I thought weren't right maybe, and I'm still like
that's what I'm nervous about.
It's crazy.
That's what I'm scared about, because I know it can be an expensive hot exercise where it's like you think some modules are going to be good regardless on like the reviews or tutorials or whatever you watch on
or maybe they're good, but
that's it, and then you get it, because I know so many people that they'll buy filters or delays, and they're like it's good. It's all right. But okay, this is the one I need now, or I need to get this one. So I know it's going to be an expensive hobby when I get into it, but I'm not. I definitely want to do it at some point because.
I will tell you mine.
Yeah, let's see first.
But Tony, for you, like, what do you think about all this? Like,
well,
how is it
I was gonna say, for a while, I stopped DJing and I was only playing live, and I was using Modular, and I felt like that kind of tag got so strongly put on me, and every gig I did, someone would ask me a question about Modular, and every mention of any music was always mentioning Modular, even if it was not, even if I made it on the computer, it doesn't matter. It's always mentioning Modular. So I'm like really contrarian. So I basically stopped using it because I just got sick of people talking about it all the time. And I got more into this thing about investigating really interesting and quirky synthesizers, like bits of gear that are kind of fully formed and someone's designed. I really like the Soma, the Russian Soma stuff, like the Lyra and things like that, and obviously like classic things like the EMS Synthy, and although I don't have one of those, and like a Buchla music easel and things like that, I got really into this, the idea of a really amazingly designed instrument. And, to be honest, I realized that I'm not going to make such a great instrument with modules. I don't know.
Well, you can, but it is just. You're right. I mean, the easel or the Synthi or the Soma stuff is so well thought out and complete. And although they all have their limitations, but they have a very compact and well thought out environment you can work within, and that's really what you should keep in mind when you're building your modular. You can. Because it is an instrument that you and to be able to play any instrument, whether it's a ready-made instrument, an electronic instrument, or an acoustic instrument, you have to spend time with it and really get to know it and become fluent on it to be able to get the maximum out of it.
Also, maybe it's largely a personal thing, just about what I've been diving into and exploring. There was some years where I think with the modular stuff as well, I basically made I don't know what the size is, just one, the case like that I brought to Stoor that time, Joachim, that kind of thing. So I basically made this case, and over time I would take modules in and out, but it was quite static, and I made this kind of live instrument that was like a kind of live, almost like a groove box or something. It had some drums in it and a lot of synth stuff and effects and everything, and it was like some really crazy cross patching and stuff. So I kind of built this instrument over time for like live performances, but I kind of stopped that thing that I did initially where I would like move stuff around and try different combinations. It got kind of quite static, the way I had it set up. But that was just me. And it's funny because I started off with a modular. The idea was to just use it in the studio, but then the first gig I did, and I used it in a club, it just sounded so powerful that I kind of never went back. And I think there's an old boiler room during Deck Mantle where I'm using the modular, and I think I'd only had it for like 2 months when I did that gig, but it was so much fun that I had to like bring it out and do a gig with it.
So do you feel you've exhausted that now?
Nice.
No.
Or you're just impatient and easily bored as with
There you go.
everything else.
You got me. No, I think I think someone was saying about like selling gear. I pretty much try to hang on to everything because I usually end up going back to things and reapproaching them, and that's how I feel about the Eurorack stuff. I'm sure I'll like use it again and like rip everything apart and just use it in a different way because for sure it's really versatile.
It's endless.
I haven't got rid of it.
Yeah.
I was actually on the same setup, like for the album, like for 2 years. I didn't buy any. I had my system and I didn't buy anything. I just went super deep every day, trying to learn, trying to find how to make drones and sounds and acid stuff, and trying to make it happen. And only now I have one album out. I'm like working on the next one. I added one piece, one new module, and I'm looking for another thing. But I learned, I think it's like important to get the stuff, learn it, go deep with it, because even 3 years, like literally on the same system, I was still finding new stuff. It just keeps giving. It's like a machine that keeps on giving. So I've added something else because I know it could add so much more because I've learned it. So what I have, but starting the system, it's such a personal thing. If you want to make ambient music, there's so many ways you can go. Like I also had like a drum kit at one point, and then I realized actually every drum kit I ever bought, like even like I had a 707 as well, I have sold. Because then I realized I could just patch my own kicks and they sounded better than sounded like the stuff I want. So it's like just discovering the stuff, and like also about selling the stuff that you said. Like I have a rule that if you sell something, you buy something for the studio. You never then go and spend that money on rent or something like that. You
rotate it. Yeah.
Because it can be dangerous, because if you start selling, maybe some months it's like, buying gear is expensive, right? So if you keep reinvesting it back into the studio, you're never going to be without gear, I guess. If you're going to sell something, buy something, because it's always like it doesn't lose money, really. And then you're losing like a little bit of money, like you buy something and then like instruments kind of hold their value, I would say. It's kind of like
what's the new module you got?
It's the how do you say it? It's the Lycra effects, the Soma. Yeah. So this is cool because it's like distortion, reverb, delay. It has like a feedback. It's for the stuff I'm working on now. It's like a lot of vocals, like super trippy, really long, like 20-minute pieces. It's just like, with the mushroom up here, it gets like really trippy, and like I'm like doing a lot of like ASMR, like whispering and all this like.
Our friend Dennis showing up in the comments. Heidi ho.
But I will add more one other thing. I think just learn what you have.
Yeah, and as you said, when
instrument, you add if you want to make techno, then it's a whole other system to somebody like what I have. So.
And adding a module to a system can also, or is also always increasing the range and possibilities of every other module you've got in your rack. It changes
way.
Everything again. Yeah.
In such a massive way, like if you're adding too fast. You could really get lost in it. So I suggest like sticking with it, because it just keeps on giving, basically. Maybe a drum machine doesn't keep on giving, unless you were to add like a filter and other like effects, then it would give the kick something new.
I love how it sounds. It sounds like it's this modular cult. It's like, oh, you've got to join. You've got to come and join us.
Totally.
There's something a little bit cult-like about it.
Yeah, it's almost and it's almost a shopping culture as well, you know, because it's just you have to get this one, you have to get this one.
It's capitalism of music, you know.
Yeah, but it's definitely good to find your system, Rachel, like you were saying, and really work with it for a long time. I think that's when you get deeper into it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's endless. It just keeps on. It's like a gift that keeps on giving. For me, I'm like, as soon as I find something, I'm like, what the hell, because I'm learning. You're learning to patch. You start not an expert, and then you get better, and then sometimes you find something, and you're like, where the hell have you been? And like some things I have recorded before. Like I have one recording. It's super insane. I may release it. And I never found it again. I don't know how. It was like when I didn't really know what was going on, I never heard it before, and it's in there somewhere. So it's like I like this. It's just like these hidden things to discover. It's like something.
Yeah, it's a very much a discovery process. Yeah, yeah.
It's still a cult though.
Yeah, fair enough. So I saw this question, I think probably an hour ago, about Jensen's snappy snare drums.
Yeah.
I was actually quite intrigued to hear about that.
Mikey. There's another one. What was that?
Bass lines. About your bass lines, of course.
I need to read it. Jensen's curious how to make some of your dirty, wobbly, digital sounding FM bass line sounds, for example, like one track you did with Micron Unleaded 98 on your Auto Express EP. Okay, yeah, so
okay, a lecture from Jensen about wobbly digital sounding bass lines and snappy snares. Here we go.
Shit.
So, Electro 909.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say, like, that particular track, I think that was an SH-101, and the key to when they say wobbly, I think they're talking about that Kraftwerk sounding Doppler effect, stabby bass sound. It's that classic Detroit electro sound, from Aux 88 and Cybertron and all that. It's all just filter modulating the filter on each individual hit. And then you pull the release all the way in, decay, sustain, you keep it really tight and really short, a little bit of saturation, and always like usually one oscillator, not getting too deep, and I usually tend to stick away from like the square waves, and yeah, I don't know, I don't really it changes every time. Sometimes I do this with samples. Like I just use a sampler in Ableton for some of the bass lines. I've got another track I did the similar bass line called Hydro Systems, and this one was just like I've got like a sound pack of just bass stabs from the Juno 60, sorry, and just put it in the sampler in Ableton. And then, yeah.
Did you use a Pro One at some point for your bass lines, or Pro One samples?
Yeah, actually, I had. It wasn't my Pro One, but I did a couple of Pro One.
Yeah, I heard a Pro One in somewhere in there. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like a lot of when I was doing my electro clash phase. Yeah, that was dead. I used a Pro One on a few tracks. I was also using a Jupiter 6 a lot early on with early stuff, and I was also using. Moog Voyager actually was one of the very first synths that I got, and same with the Korg MS-2000, which is like semi-digital, semi-analog. And I have this track, it's probably my biggest one, where I wrote this top line. The track is called The Fontainebleau, and it's like just a Miami bass kind of style track. And there's this original electro track, Twilight. What's the group? It's like one of the most sampled electro beats in the history of like electronic music. Like this is like Dr. Dre sampled this, Alden Tyrell sampled this like on one of his biggest records, the early clone ones. It's called Rhythm Tracks, I think. Rhythm Tracks. it's killing me. Anyway, someone thought I'd sampled that on this track, and it's just the Korg MS-2000. It's called the filter string patch, and it's just like 4 notes, like a chord essentially, just arpeggiating or set to random, and you just tuck the release, the sustain, the decay all the way in, and yeah, you just make this like simple like arpeggio strings sound. Every track, it's like I've used different synths along the way, like you guys have been discussing with your process and your journey. You keep evolving your studio, you keep getting different bits of gear, but you use the same techniques essentially to the approach. Recently, I've really been getting into in Ableton using busing, using sends a lot, because originally I used to just dump all the processing like on individual hits. And sometimes it is great for certain sound design, but I guess from an engineer standpoint, you can crush and wash out a lot of the sonics and the sound. And the guy who is like one of my best friends and who I run my label with and do a lot of music with, he's called Assembler Code. He's actually our mixing and mastering engineer for the label, and he's worked on every one of my records. He started mixing down my music. So initially, my background isn't really so much like my engineering and mixing isn't. That's not my strength, and it never was. And over time, he's been telling me, he's like, use sends with your reverbs and delays and stuff like that, because you'll still hold the essence of the original sound. You won't wash it out or kill the file, kill the waveform, and you still get that. You still get the desired effect. So I guess I use that with my snares a lot now, where I'll be running different, like one really tight reverb and a looser one, a really tight delay, a second delay that's a little bit longer, and just playing around with the different levels of each send. A little bit of saturation. I even use the Ableton saturator. It's fine. I use the Ableton overdrive as well. Totally fine.
Yeah.
So that I don't really have like any like crazy unique tricks as far as like gear or plugins or certain tools. Wait, how do you get your snare drum so snappy? What's your secret? Okay,
that's the question. Yeah.
That's the question. Yeah. So,
finally.
I do.
Snares so snappy.
Yeah, I do layer snares as well. Like I'll use like a few different. I do. Yeah.
10 snares at the same time.
I'll use one that's like got
these
more
frequencies from this.
Totally.
These frequencies from this one.
Yeah. I layer samples. I'm also gotten into parallel processing as well. So use the same snare and then process one slightly, just process it differently and layer them, and you can create something. Quite useful. Also, though, I think one thing that's really important, I suppose, for newer producers that are getting into production, I find that like sometimes if you have a really great sample pack, if you can't afford hardware and you get yourself a sample pack, a lot of these samples have been mastered and engineered by like some of the best gear there is. So the actual sample itself is sounding really great. So sometimes you don't actually have to go too deep into it. And if you listen, if you're doing doing the kind of music I'm doing, or if you're super into like that older Detroit style of electro, if you listen to a lot of the early Drexciya, you listen to a lot of Kraftwerk, just besides the more laser percussion, the more laser synthesis stuff, percussion that they're creating with synths, the other like more 808 sounding stuff, the snares are just like really simple and basic, and they're letting the sample do what it does, and it's all more just about getting the levels right with the samples and with the mixing, and just kind of letting everything hit, have room to hit as evenly as possible, I guess, if that makes sense. I'm not too sure, but
that's what there's a lot of questions always coming up. How do you get this kick, or how do you get this snare drum? But most of the time it's all about proportion, right? Because if something is loud and in your face and snappy, it's because it's the rest is not as loud as that, so it's sticking out.
Exactly.
So you could also think about the whole thing in reverse, like how do you get it as loud, so loud, because the other stuff is more in the back,
Exactly.
And talking about your sort of processing in one channel of Ableton or via Sense, some of the stuff in Ableton actually has dry wet settings, so you could still, you could do parallel processing without Sense within a channel, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, but parallel processing is very powerful because you can, for example, if you want a snare to sound more dirty and still keep the transients, you could just use a saturator and saturate the fuck out of it, but just only use 10% of the saturation sound and leave 90% of the original there. So you get like the effect, but sort of blended just slightly into the original sound, which makes a huge difference, believe it or not.
Totally. I kind of do it the other way around, actually. Like
90%. 90%.
Yeah.
Okay.
I set all my like if it's a delay, if it's a reverb, I always turn the dry wet up to max, like to 100, and then just level it in, like just bring it in however much I want it, I guess, with the send itself.
Yeah.
That's how I do it.
Okay.
Again, there's no I feel like there's no right or wrong answer as well. I guess it's just best what works for you. And the sends is like, I think, a very key and important thing if you're still wanting the smack and the impact from like a snare or a kick, because if you put too much processing on a sound, eventually you'll just kill it, and it just like wash the sound out. And that could be
it's a traditional way of doing things as well, because it kind of mimics the way an analog board works, using a fader and then sends an EQ. Yeah, it's all sort of,
I feel like I didn't answer this question at all. Like, I didn't really. I feel like these people wanted like an address they could type into their maps to like find the snare, of how like to get to the snare. But yeah, I use some samples. Actually, the 808 Smackos that Lego World did is super dope. I've used that. I did a track with the Hacker, and there's actually we did an EP together. We did 3 tracks, and the 808 Smackos is all the 808 sounds on that EP. It's called Trigger Zone. If you listen to that EP, all the 808 sounds are from the Smackos, and it's just the original presets on all of them. And it's the same with like a lot of that early Detroit stuff. Is like some of those synths around the late 80s, like especially the Alpha Juno, is that thing is a bitch to like program. So a lot of the early Detroit stuff, you'll be clicking through the presets, and it's actually the preset. It's the preset sound on a lot of those early tracks, because they were just too much of a nightmare to program those synths. They was like, fuck it, let's just use. Oh, sorry, I just swore, but let's just use this preset in this patch. And and then I mean, sure, with some of those synths you can get deeper into it and do other stuff, but yeah, I mean, some of the stock sounds are just good the way they are. It's just again, I don't really know. I feel like I answered the question. Shit.
No, but that's a lot of useful tips. But yeah, I mean, it's always the best way to get something is just to try all kinds of different things and see what gets you there. I mean, now with all the millions of YouTube tutorials out there, it's easy to get advice, but at the same time, it's just as useful just to try things yourself and see where.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I've got an idea though. We should get together again. We should do this, because after we do a session again, after our next session, that way Bessie will observe how I do it, and then she can tell you what I'm doing.
So you have to invite me third time.
Yeah. She might be able to answer it better for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll check it out. I'll keep an eye on him. He talk. I don't think he really knows.
I don't think I really know either. Yeah, I don't really know what happens when I'm doing it, when I'm jamming. But Yeah. I think like balance, like just it's all about just getting your level balance, the levels balanced with your mixing is such a huge part of it. And you're right, like I guess if you want your snare to really pop, just turn everything down and just leave the snare. And I do that. That's kind of how I mix my stuff now. It's like once I've done the structure and I've laid everything out, mixing, I do a little bit of mixing along the way, but for the most part it happens towards the end. And I just start turning things down, and you'll see things just like kind of just pop out, and it's just what you want to be more prominent, what you want to kind of feature. I don't really do any side chaining. I haven't side chained since like the early 2000s when I stopped making.
I was going to say the 70s, but okay.
Yeah. What do you guys think about mastering?
Data Rebel from YouTube. Yeah. What do you guys
Stems.
think about mastering stems as opposed to mastering full? Okay. Anybody has any experience with that? I don't, to be honest.
No.
I don't understand
so
that.
You don't
though,
think much of that, then, I guess.
But like, what is the purpose in mastering stems? Is that would that be for someone who's playing live?
Possibly, but there is this thing that you basically record everything in the studio, multi-track it, and then just bounce out groups. Like your kick and bass, or even you can even separate those, or just different parts, so you can basically postpone how the levels are set, and you can have that. You can have the stems treated individually, so you can have like a compression on just the bass and the kick, and then have saturation going on the high end or whatever, or treat the percussion in a different way. I don't know. That's it's something that
not good for impatient people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're a really good songwriter, but you're not really that much of a good engineer, then it can help. Just give your music to somebody else and sort it out. And just write the next track while he's mixing your stuff. That's possible, I guess. Yeah. Why not?
That makes sense. Different people have different strengths, and it's good to work with other people if
I guess the way I think that when I heard all your approaches, I think the sound design, writing, mixing and arranging and recording part is pretty much all sort of the same thing. All these things kind of blend into each other. They're all part of the same process. Maybe not for Jensen, because you say the mixing down comes at the end, but for the most part. But in my case, and I'm sure for Tony too, and even Rachel, if you're recording your stuff more or less in a live take, like a real-time thing, then all of these things are kind of happening at the same time, and you can treat it afterwards. You can treat your sound files or make selections, but the overall balance between sounds is already recorded. It's already there, so that's what you got to work with.
Yeah, I'm overdubbing, so I never record like 5 things at once. I get one sound, record it how I want it, then I'll have that playing, and then I'll find the other sound.
Right.
Yeah.
And then just layer like that, and then I'm mixing as I'm going. So at the end, I have exactly what I want, rather than having to go back and be like, oh, I've got to mix this, because it's by the end, it's like almost done this way. It's quick. This is how it becomes quicker for me, I think. But then with the other projects, like I have a project called 3D Dancer with Raptors and Alex Aferi, where we did our live album. Actually, how you guys were talking about like multi-tracking and how Jensen's talking about how you and I make music is so different. Like I don't use the computer to make music. I don't know how to use the computer actually like this.
Yeah, right.
But with the guys, we're we jam our live album was basically it was just one audio track. So we recorded it like all of our live shows just as a one recording, and then we just cut it and picked out the best parts, and there was no editing. It just happened in the moment. Straight
Nice.
recording like this. But now we will like do some multi-tracking, maybe do like the kick and like the hats and the like all separately, so we can like EQ some parts, so it would sound bigger and better, I guess.
Do some more specific mixing.
Yeah, exactly. But it kind of worked just chopping it. Sometimes something's just an idea. It doesn't end up being perfect or loud enough.
It was a great album. I love that album.
Thank you. Yeah, because it's a live act, right? So we've tried to get into the studio and like make an EP. We realize it just doesn't work like that. We just have to jam and just record then and there, like record for hours. So when we were playing out, we were recording. So we have, I don't know, hundreds of hours of stuff that we've been chopping like recently. So we have like a new album coming out, that's a bigger package of something. Yeah, we have a lot of material, but it's also just chopped like this. So curious to know what kind of saturation. Here we go. Okay. For these tracks, Shock You Through the Heart is actually just one recording. It happened live, with no arrangement whatsoever. It's basically just my oscillator running through feedback. I'm not sure actually how I created it fully, but it's actually just one recording. There's no extra layers, but it's the oscillator running through the spring reverb and feedback of the spring reverb. And Chase is some of my vocal humming in the sync, and then some sub bass drones with my oscillator. I think.
So if people ask you what gear do I need to sound like Rachel, you buy a sync basically. That's what you say. Get a sync. Get your head in the sync.
I'm not sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, spring reverb's a big one. Oscillator. You're very much appreciated. Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer the question. It was like the saturation of something.
What saturation did you use?
I mean,
what saturator?
I didn't use the saturator. I just I think I just used it went through. I'm just trying to see my modules. Multi-filter. So yeah, filter, spring reverb. They're both very simple tracks, and then an oscillator creating like a drone. On both of these tracks, actually, most of my tracks I don't even use a sequencer. I just play it live and just find like a LFO that just so I can create the structure in a live rate rather than, because I'm making ambient music, right? It doesn't need to be structured like this, so I just let it kind of blow out and happen like this. So yeah, you don't even need a sequencer if you want to.
I'm jealous.
Question from Dennis Monopoly. Do I spot a test equipment sign generator behind you?
Yes.
Yeah. I knew he would spot that.
Yeah. Actually, I put the question back in the frame because I think he's got the exact same one, the circle on his on his album.
My huge inspiration is like the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, early electronic music. So this is the sound of this is the aesthetic that I love. So I bought this a few years ago, actually, from the UK. So yeah, Adelia Derbyshire had basically the same one. So I really love her music and her. So I had to get it, and it's basically just it has a sine wave and square wave. I have, it's not plugged in right now, but I bought like a converter, so I can, plug it into my modular. But when you open it up, it's just like full of glass tubes. So the sound is it's insane actually. So yeah. So yeah, it's making really nice, warm drones. I mean, you put it into your filter, low end filter, and make drones, and it's really pretty awesome. I actually got it for quite cheap, but right now I think they got quite popular and they became quite expensive. Test equipment things. So
I think all of us have been at the Willem II studios, right? Tony, you've been there. Nene has done some work there. Have you been there, Rachel?
No.
You should. If you like this kind of stuff, you should definitely go there sometime.
It's the best place.
Yeah,
it's the best place. Willem II Studios in Netherlands.
Yeah.
Basically, like heaven.
Come to Rotterdam and visit Dennis.
Yeah, I would love to come. This is like, it's also, I'm using it, but I also love I love it because it's like my mushroom. It's like I look at this and I can imagine the moment where they were using this gear, and it just it gives me the aesthetic that even if I'm not using it, I can look at it and
get inspired.
It's taking me back. It's like a portal to the 70s, the 60s.
What did you?
So important, actually.
What, Joachim? What did you gravitate towards at the Willem II? Because there's so much stuff there.
Willem II.
Willem II.
Well, actually, I was there because Albert invited me, and we did the sessions together. We still have to do one cut, and then the whole project is finished, by the way. And it's anyway. But so we spent one day in the studio where all the test equipment is, and one day in the other room where the ARP 2500 is. And in the test equipment studio, basically, we had a pretty elaborate patch with help from Hans, who's running the place, and we had the tapes running, and the ring modulator, and everything was it was a pretty complex setup, really, and that's all we used. So I think we maybe repatched once during the day, and everything else is just finding what we could do with the existing setup. And but there was a lot of things that were feeding back into each other, and rhythms created by the ring modulator, which was affecting basically I think even it was on the master even, or very late in the chain, and then having that sort of be at the same time or pace as some of the oscillators, so you get like things almost happening at the same time, but not really, you know what I mean? So it's sort of that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like the using oscillators as sequencers and using pulses as I don't know. It's just it's all very simple. Everything does a very simple thing, but obviously you don't have very you don't have like the normal signal chains like oscillator, filter. It is a bit simpler than that, and so you have to work with what you get, and by just tuning it, you get some really interesting stuff, especially if you have the tapes included in the thing as well. But it all came out very still a bit structured, but very organic in a way. It's all it doesn't sound like testing equipment at all. It sounds way more like mic'd stuff, or stuff that is recorded in big rooms and stuff, but there was nothing going on like that. But that's just how it came out. But it's great. We just focused on that for one day, and then did a session with the ARP 2500 the other day, and the stuff that we will be releasing is the stuff that is done all in the test equipment room. What did you do there?
I did a bit in the test equipment room, but I got, because me and Carl Regis did a residency thing there, and then I went back again with Dan to record some stuff for Transcendence Orchestra, and we just spent the whole time in the hall pretty much using the pipe organ.
Oh
and the piano as well, and we did we set it up so we had like direct. We brought a bunch of the the old keyboards in there and played them through like a kind of PA system and amps and mic'd up and had direct and close mic and like a kind of wide room mic, and we kind of used. So yeah, we had that. That's actually one of the few times that I did like a lot of multi-track recording everything and then taking it home and just doing a lot of processing with it. But really, it was all the stuff we recorded in the hall. I really liked the acoustics in there, so that's kind of where we spent all our time, really.
Yeah, I don't work in other studios that much, but when you do, you find yourself just using whatever you know or stumble upon, which brings out a whole different approach. It's a different thing. I liked it.
Yeah.
How do I get there? How does this happen?
We can hook you up.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah, sure. And Nene, what you said, you talked about it briefly, but what was your experience there?
We were also at the synagogue, right?
Yeah.
The place that you recorded is also actually we also played a little bit on inside. I also met Rose there. And it was their residency too. And Albert had invited me, so we had like 3 days maybe, if I don't remember wrong. And we had a lot of 3 days, I think. We had a lot of like preparing the piano and doing some weird stuff on the piano and recording that, and me playing maybe for hours. And also inside on the whole gear, and I also took a lot of material home actually from there. It was amazing. Also, the people are so nice. So it's great place to work. It is really great.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thumbs up for Willem Twee.
Ja, toch. We're kind of nearing 2 hours now. Usually, we don't have to quit or anything, but usually towards the end, we give everybody a little bit of time to plug anything they're working on or want to talk about. So, hey, thank you. So maybe Rachel, you start with. Is there anything you want to promote other than your album, or talk about things you're gonna do, gigs, anything people should know about?
Sell yourself.
Sell yourself.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know. I've got some video clips still to come out.
Where can people find your album? Is it on Bandcamp?
So you can find it on Bandcamp. So I started a record label. So the album's out on My Own Imaginary World, and you can find it through my channels, I guess, maybe, or we could put it in the link or something. And then working on the next stuff, but I'll talk about that another time. Got some film clips coming out. Made some merchandise as well, which is on the Bandcamp. And I don't know what to. There's actually lots going on,
but you were in
weirder just saying.
You got any gigs coming up? Because you said you and Nene were in Ukraine last weekend. Is there anything else planned?
I mean, with everything going on right now, with everyone going back into lockdown and stuff, I think this
was the last one.
I think it would have been, it would be gig. I mean, sure, there would be work if there was no lockdown. So it's a shame. It's a shame, but using the time to do other things, I guess. I miss gigging, obviously. I'm just focusing more. I'm doing like music for some advertising stuff at the moment, for ads, and so just busy. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So check out the album, and would be awesome if people could support it. So yeah,
For sure.
It's been nice.
Everybody check out Rachel's album. Everybody go to her Bandcamp. Support Rachel.
Yeah, support me.
So Tony, Tony, should we spoil what we're planning to do on Sunday?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What is happening?
But first of all, I have to remember because Matty was saying about you do a show on Rinse FM.
Yeah, are you talking to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's all good. Yeah, I have a monthly spot on Rinse.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's a I do a monthly show on there called Marital Aid with DJ Bus Replacement Service. That's definitely worth checking because it's got this good kind of husband and wife slight kind of tension going on where we're like always just about to start having an argument or something, but on air. But it's kind of fun because we just play like lots of really absurd music and talk about it. There's a lot, it's not just like doing a DJ mix. We chat about the music as well. And that's
what's absurd music? What do you mean by absurd music? Like not just techno, like
oh, definitely. I mean, there's barely any techno. It's like we both enjoy a real wide range of music, and we kind of delve into a lot of that. I mean, it could be, you listen to the show. I mean, it's
it records, like old records, or more digital stuff?
It's a whole mixture. It's like old stuff, new stuff. It's really.
I would check that out.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll check that out for sure.
You've toured. You were toured with this as well, right? I mean, I think free rotation or something, or
oh yeah, we did a set under the name Little Baby Cheeses at free rotation.
Oh, legendary!
Yeah, that's such a good name, Little Baby Jesus.
And it's just.
Oh Jesus! Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I can't really explain how absurd it is. You just have to listen to it. Really.
Okay.
But we do that every month, and I think the next one's like November 20th. We're like at 1 a.m. or something, but it's on their SoundCloud and stuff like that. So
if you both have a Rinse show, I don't know much about Rinse. Where's this based? Is this show?
Rinse FM is like it's based in London, and it was originally a pirate radio station. It was very influential in the kind of early days of like grime and dubstep and things like that. They were like one of the first kind of champions of that music, really. But they've really expanded the range of music that and shows that they have. It's not just kind of grime and dubstep. It's like
oh yeah, they have they have everything.
Rinse France. A lot. I didn't know.
Yeah, they'll have like a French franchise.
French,
but
exactly.
Yeah, they have
France,
a branch in
Paris. The original one's Rinse FM in London. But it's really fun having like a monthly show and just trying to think about how we kind of top it each time and stuff like that.
So where do you find the music then? Because is it all in your collection, or do you actually
it's all,
search for it, hunt for it?
Well, a bit of both. It's a lot of the time it's music that I love or I think is interesting or strange or funny that I don't play in like a club DJ set. But I also hunt this stuff. There's so much odd, different music that you never heard or imagined out there.
This is what I like hunting for too. We should need to hear this show.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot, definitely. I mean, she got really into recently. She's been really into music that different countries use to promote their military. So basically, but like modern versions. So they do this like really they try to do like a kind of hip hop track to promote the Azerbaijan.
Join
military.
the army. Yeah.
They're pretty wild. So
wow, that's pretty funny.
So
like my record collection. I basically I buy new records, but my collection is basically odd and non-music, very bizarre stuff.
You should do a show on Rinse.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Check it out. I'm like,
nice.
Try to outdo Tony.
So what were you about? What were you about to say before I derailed the conversation?
I don't even remember. I got too lost with the cheese and the military hip hop. What was it? Sorry, what did you ask?
We have hip hop, exactly.
So just name the show again, maybe, Tony, for people who didn't catch the name of the show.
Oh, it was the show's on the station Rinse FM, and the show's name is Marital Aid, with DJ Surgeon and DJ Bus Replacement Service.
Nice.
Cool.
Rock and roll.
Cool.
So cool.
Oh, yeah, I'm excited to check it out. And Bessie,
so cool.
what do you have coming up?
Yeah, first sleeping. I'm so tired.
Me too. I had the worst
I'm
sleep.
so sorry, guys. I feel like all the time.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Tell yourself.
I have. Hopefully, we will have a festival in Copenhagen with my friends, and we are doing this experimental music festival. Where local people are playing, and it's going to be live oriented, and hopefully if it doesn't get cancelled, then at the end of the month I can play there too, and that's something exciting that is happening. And then a little bit of collaboration work. That's it actually, like trying to practice piano more, because I realized last month that I got really bad at it, and trying to keep my technique a little bit back on like the older times, and just for myself, just for my own sake, because I studied that, and then after I started working on electronic music, basically I didn't really practice anymore. And when you sit on it after like 2 years of not practicing, it's the worst feeling in the world.
Rusty fingers.
Yeah, and it's like it is psychologically not something that I want to have. So I just want to practice for my own sake, to get the technique like at least a little bit better. Like
you have a piano that you can practice on.
Yeah. I'm also teaching right now because because of the corona situation. Without touring, of course, need to do something.
Keep busy,
get some money.
Keep those bands rolling in.
Yeah. So I'm teaching at home, from home. The kids are also not the kids. More like over 40, and I have students, which is also great. Yeah.
Nice.
I really enjoy that. It's better than the kids. Not that I don't love kids. I love the kids too, but it's easier with mature people.
Nice.
Yeah, that's about it for me. Yeah. Let's see what's gonna happen in the winter time. Yeah.
Okay. Well, sounds great. Teaching piano.
Yeah. Yeah. What's up with you, John? Are you doing something?
I was about to say, we when the lockdown started happening, we did the Stay Home Sound System series here from Stoor, and every time I invited another guest physically to the studio, and basically do a live improvisation and just stream it live. But of course, people who can reach the studio is just limited, so we had to end the series at about 20 episodes. But in the meantime, we did some research and found a way to sync hardware setups over the internet, basically. And
wow.
so now we've done the first episode with Robin Kampschoor last week. Stay Home Sound System episode 21, and number 22 will happen this Sunday with Tony, with Surgeon. So we did a little test run.
Sync it virtually.
Well, it's basically we can we can hear each other. Not really at the same time, but the music is still synced, so it's delayed by with a musical interval, basically. So, but the end result is 100% in sync, and it's actually quite easy once you know how to do it. It's a
and
really
you have
easy
you have the audio and a clock as well.
Yeah. So basically, well, I mean, technically, it's not really that interesting, but the feeling to sit in the studio and have somebody somewhere else in the world jamming with you it's quite special. It's and it's pretty cool. I mean, it I don't know how it felt for you, Tony, but it felt like very natural. Didn't feel like a strange situation at all.
I felt like in quite a short amount of time that the sense of the distance really evaporated, and it was really it was as good as it could be, of feeling like we were just in the same studio jamming. It was really, really good.
Yeah, exactly. So you're still basically just responding to the other person. Even if they're not in the same room, So it's like it's like with every jam, it's like a musical conversation, and it seems that the physical distance isn't really that much of a hurdle when you do it like this. So anyway, we're going to do this on Sunday, and streaming it on Twitch. So people who want to catch that, they should have a look out for that on Twitch.
And it's going to be some really sick space jazz, or
that's what we we didn't have a plan, we just set a tempo, and we didn't have any aesthetics in mind or anything, but that's what happened, and I think that's probably what's going to happen again when we hit start again. But it'll be fully improvised. Tony is using
as it always is.
Yeah, but I mean it's yeah, but even with the shows we've done before as multiples, there was always some kind of preparation, like have some things pre-programmed and then just improvise with that or whatever. But this time
Mr. Booze likes the space jazz.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see Mr. Booze in the comments, hopefully there. But it is so there is really nothing programmed even. It's just things are in step mode, and punch in the notes whenever we feel like we needed something should change or whatever. And there's lots of effects and weird delays and things going in and out of time and stuff. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be really good. I'm really I'm missing performing and also improvising with other people. I'm just missing that so much, and so just the test run was just really, really good. So I can't wait for Sunday for our space odyssey, our jazz space odyssey.
You said you were afraid since you hadn't done this for such a while that you were going to be a bit rusty, but I didn't notice anything.
No. After like 1 minute,
were there
okay, we're back in.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the riding the bike thing, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Muscle memory.
Yeah. Okay, people. I think unless anybody has a very urgent thing to drop, we should probably end it here on a high note.
Yeah, sure. Oh, actually, back to
Jensen's plug. Yeah, Rinse. That's you. Sorry about that. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. I actually was like, part of me was like, yes, I don't have to talk about myself. But speaking of Rinse, Bessie and I will be playing back to back. Yeah. You're going to hear the fruits of our day today. I think it's in 2 weeks' time, or next week, or 2 weeks. I have to check the dates.
19th.
19th. So what day is it today? Is it?
It's forced today.
What year is it?
What year? Oh, 17th. 17th.
Yes, it's 17th. It's on the 17th. So
what's your show called?
It's just Jensen Interceptor on Rinse FM for 2 hours, and then I always have a friend, a guest, because I mean, there's so many amazing DJs and producers, people that I want to connect with. So I always love being able to offer the other hour to someone else. I mean, just a few weeks ago, last month, I had Detroit legend DJ Godfather, and that was like so huge for me because I'm like such a ghetto tech Miami-based head, and hit him up, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, for sure, I would love to do it. He's super cool. We've been chatting ever since. He's actually going to do a remix for me on that track I mentioned before, where I couldn't remember the name of the track. Actually, it's called Jive Rhythm Tracks, I think.
Nice.
Is the original one. You know the one, Tony?
I recognize the name. Yeah.
Yeah, Jive Rhythm Tracks, I think, is the original track I was talking about that people thought I sampled, but it's actually a very easy arpeggio to make with. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. But yeah, we're going to be on Rinse on the 17th. And on Monday, I just had the latest release on my label by a producer called Lutzi, and it's super dope. Everyone should go check it. It's very like new wave electro kind of stuff, and she's doing really incredible things. She's from she's
German, right?
Well, she's German. I know where she's from, and I've just gone blank. It's Frankfurt or Munich. She's going to kill me because we're friends. You asshole, you don't know where I'm from.
You'll say the rival town or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. But she's just moved here to Berlin, and we're actually working on some stuff together as well. But yeah, her new EP is out this week, and whoever's listening, go get it, cop it. It's super dope.
It's good.
Yeah, that's about it from me. That's all I've really got to report. No gigs because we're in a pandemic, so yeah, just stay home and keep writing music and talking with lovely people like yourself.
Yeah, actually coming back to staying at home and writing music, I want to do one last plug, and that's our Patreon page, because we've started a Patreon page if people want to support this thing, and we also have tiers where people get some goodies like sound packs, and they can even get into masterclasses and stuff like that. So if you're interested in learning more about producing and everything, then have a look there. And also we have a Discord server for people who are into producing and want to hang out with other producers. We do these chats with the Knob Twiddlers Hangouts, but we have a Knob Twiddlers Hangout after party every time, basically all of the time, on our Discord server, where we have a growing community with people who are just exchanging information, talking about gear, nerdy stuff, producing, exchanging music, posting their streams and stuff like that. It's a really fun place. So if you want to continue babbling on about this subject, have a look there. There's lots of people there to chat with you. So that was the last thing I wanted to plug.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, it was great talking to you guys. Yeah, sorry I kept you from actually producing music today, but at least you got the recording. At least you got the recording. You got the recording done.
Totally.
It's all good. Thanks for having us.
Okay. Yeah. So Mikey, Nene, Rachel, Tony, thanks a lot. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye. Ciao ciao.
Bye bye.
Bye.